Right now, happy to be joined by Ann Coulter, who, listen, on a day when Jeffrey Epstein and all of the despicable crimes that man allegedly committed on his little island down there in the Caribbean is a dominant story in the news, or certainly should be a dominant story in the news. I'm happy to talk to Ann Coulter because, Ann, boy, you were one of the first voices really, really reporting on this and doing some major things that most journalists ignored. And you were out there talking about Jeffrey Epstein years ago.
Yes, and trying desperately to get the national media to cover it. Part of what has come out recently, I mean in the last year or so, as opposed to in 2006 when everything we know now basically was known then, thanks to the magnificent work of the Palm Beach police, the Miami Herald, and everyone acts like, oh, wow, you uncovered this hidden story. I don't think there's anything in the Miami Herald story that was not known to readers of, the Palm Beach Post in 2006. But because of the delay in the national media reporting on it, other than Bill O'Reilly, whom I pushed to cover it, and then he claims that he did not follow up and keep covering it, was a lot of fancy people. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Admired, honored, wealthy. The woman, I think her name is Eva Dubin of the Dubin Cancer Center in New York. Rich, fabulous, powerful, still entertaining. Epstein, as he's on house arrest, having him over for Thanksgiving dinners, that sort of thing. And I mentioned that to say, don't tell me you didn't know. Luckily, finally, when Trump became president, they got a hook to Trump, and that is the only reason the media, the major media, started covering it, and the Miami Herald even wrote a story. Ooh, we have this third degree of separation connection to Donald Trump. Now it's a story.
Yeah.
But it was fun reading through. I actually did not, as I claimed I was on Twitter, stay up all night reading it. But I did flip through a few things. Wow, there's a lot in there. And I tweeted out a few things, not so much because they were, shocking and new, but to get the exact statement that was made in legal filings. Now, these are just statements that are being alleged, generally by the plaintiff. But still, wow, to see it there in black and white, it's rather arresting.
It is, and one thing that really sort of shines through all of these documents is that the FBI sure had a lot of information and a lot of testimony about Jeffrey Epstein and other people that were involved in this, and it appears that they didn't really do anything about it.
Yes, it's disgusting. I mean, it's more disgusting what was done at the state level. I am not trying to let the FBI or, what's his name, the U.S. attorney down here, off the hook. What was his name? Alex? The one who had to step down.
Not Castellanos. Hang on. In Miami?
Yeah. The U.S. attorney there. I always get him confused with different
in the Southern District. Yeah, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I'll get it for you.
Anyway, 100% of the blame is put on him, again, because that's the link to Trump. But what he did was third degree blow off a case.
Oh, Alexander Acosta, who became the labor secretary.
Yes, and then had to step down. Alexander Acosta. I'm not trying to soft pedal that. Yes, definitely deserves obloquy. But compared to what the local DA, they called him in Florida, state attorneys, Barry Krishner did, this was a state case. I know people get confused by this, but there are state crimes and there are federal crimes. And there are a lot of ways by hook or crook that the feds can get their hands into something, as they did here. They have to put in the interstate commerce, interstate, means of communication. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein was using his cell phone. Ooh, you can communicate interstate. But this is a classic state crime. As I mentioned at the beginning, all of the footwork, the entire discovery of this case was busted open by what? The FBI? No, the Palm Beach police, local police department. They presented it to Barry Krishner, the state attorney, on a silver platter, And he clearly, purposely, through the case, only brought one witness before the grand jury. We do not have those are the documents I want unsealed, what he presented to the grand jury with all of the evidence we have now. The grand jury somehow ended up just charging Jeffrey Epstein with one charge of solicitation of prostitution. So we're calling all these 14-year-old girls he was molesting prostitutes,
right,
and giving him one charge. He didn't get any prison time, not even the cushy prison time from the state attorney. That's why the feds stepped in and looked at a way to make it a federal case. They at least got him to plead to something, got him to have to register as a sex offender. Again, not making any excuses for Alex Acosta and his office. Lawyers tend to be not very manly. And when his office came under attack, as he described, it was just unbelievable. They were harassing people who worked for me.
Yeah.
This is why we love Bill Barr. He seems to be the only Federalist Society member with a set of cojones. Anyway, it wasn't Alex Acosta's decision to have Jeffrey Epstein spend what was it, a few months basically.
Right, but he was forced out of office because they said he gave him a slap on the wrist. And meanwhile, the Democrat in charge of Miami.
And no one has looked at Barry Kushner, big Democrat, as was Epstein, as was Dershowitz. I mean, really, I let no one off here. Ken Starr was a lawyer for Epstein. This was, in large part, elites circling the wagons to protect this repellent child molester and his child molester enabler, according to many of the Jane Does. Ghislaine actually participated, according to them, in the molestations. But although it was a elite affair, it was mostly, give me a break, it was a liberal Democrat affair.
Yeah. It was, and it is outrageous that we're still not really close to justice for these young women. They were girls at the time; they're young women now, and they'll forever be, destroyed in many respects because of these actions and because of the despicable nature of this thing.
And more than that, we need a fair system of justice for all Americans. I mean, yes, of course, these girls are the direct victims. They suffered more than society at large. But it's not going to be enough just to pay them off. No, you cannot have a system of justice where just because you're a rich liberal Democrat who donates freely to the Democratic Party, you get to molest girls. We need a system of justice that can be trusted, and we are not at all close to that.
Well, but you're right, and it's outrageous, and it's infuriating. I want to bring it back to William Barr, since you brought him up. He does seem to be the guy, or at least someone who takes this seriously and is trying to get the Justice Department back in the business of justice.
I hope so. It looks like there's going to be a lot more work involved than we knew.
Well, that's why we keep talking about it and ranting about it once in a while as well. Ann Coulter, thanks for joining us. We've got to leave it there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.